If you've ever watched a video on healing, boundaries, or tactics for dealing with a narcissist and thought, great, but what if it's my, and fill in the blank? What if it's my husband, my daughter, my boss, or even my pet iguana? It's easy to feel like the person in question is the exception to the rules, because sometimes they are. What do you do when the very person who's supposed to love and nurture you is the one that's actually causing the most pain? What do you do when the woman who's supposed to have your back is the one who's sticking the knife in it? What do you do when it's your mother? If you've been raised by a narcissistic parent, stick with me, because in this episode, I'm going to walk you through the signs of a narcissistic mother, the damaging effects of being raised by one, and finally, the biblical guidance on how to honor God without sacrificing your sanity. Well, hey, my friend, in case we haven't met yet, my name is Kris Reece, and it is my hope to help you navigate difficult relationships and conquer codependency biblically. So if you are not already subscribed, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? And while you're down there, be sure to grab a copy of our free Narcissist Survival Guide. This is my free gift to you. Now, before we talk about how to move forward, let's quickly talk about how to identify if your mother might be a narcissist. This isn't about labeling someone, and it is certainly not about dividing families, but rather recognizing the patterns so that you can start taking the necessary steps to handle this in the way that guards your heart and saves your sanity. While the principles in this video can easily be applied to a narcissistic father, please let me know in the comments if you would like a special video dedicated to narcissistic fathers. So let's talk about the signs of a narcissistic mother. Narcissism often shows up in ways that are subtle but deeply impactful. And here are some signs that you might see in a narcissistic mother. Number one is a lack of empathy. The woman who should be your greatest nurturer is often the one leaving you feel like you have to pick up the pieces of the fragments she left. Your mother might disregard your feelings or your needs and instead only focus on her own. And if you've ever tried to share something personal or painful, she might respond with indifference or worse, turn it back on you. This mother is all about herself, her pain, her problems. All of these are always so much bigger than yours. And she may hide behind encouraging words, but it's often just emotional bypassing in disguise. And if she's a Christian, you're likely going to get a lot of scriptures chucked at you with no regard for the biblical command to weep with those who weep. Now, she may confuse you at times with her empathy, which then leaves you wondering if you've been wrong about her all along. But if she does display empathy, it's a form of performative empathy, and you will see it quickly disappear when she's had enough. Hey friend, I'm so excited to announce the release of my new book, Breaking the Narcissist Grip, coming soon. So be sure to join the waitlist for amazing discounts, bonuses, and your chance to grab a copy before its public release. So go ahead and click down below and join the waitlist today. Number two is emotional manipulation. A narcissistic mother will often guilt trip you. She may say things like, after everything I've done for you, or manipulate your emotions to get what she wants. And you may feel like you're walking on eggshells trying to please her just to avoid conflict. And if she is a Christian, you will often hear misapplied Bible verses that only ever seem to benefit her. Number three, constant criticism. Narcissistic mothers often tear down their children's self-esteem. Even if she says it's for your own good, it feels more like constant judgment or comparing you to others, making you feel like you'll never measure up. And you may think, how or why would a mother ever do this? The truth is, all narcissists, parent, partner, pastor, coworker, friend, or sibling, all are insecure. They have no solid sense of self. Outside of the validation of others, they don't know who they are. So if you are in any way a threat to them, and it doesn't take much, you will be criticized. And sadly, you can even spend your entire life trying to win the approval of a woman who has none to give. Number four, control and overbearing behavior. Narcissistic mothers have this uncanny ability to make you feel like you can't make decisions without her approval. And it's not uncommon for these mothers to try and control your life choices, even as an adult. This is not love. This is not concern. These are red flags. And if this narcissistic mother has the financial means, it will now become a weapon to handcuff the adult children to her desires, as she often pays for things like cars, vacations, homes, maybe even businesses. But make no mistake, if you desire what she's giving you, she will use it to control you. It's not love, it's leverage. Number 5 is attention seeking. Narcissistic mothers crave the spotlight and will often make everything about them. If something good happens to you, she may shift the conversation to herself or find a way to overshadow your achievements. Whether she's the in-your-face, seductively dressed and inappropriately behaved overt narcissist, or the subtle, manipulative, always the victim, covert narcissist, this woman craves attention. Take it away and you will see a side you never expected. If you're watching this, you likely already know that the effects of being raised by a narcissistic mother don't just hurt in the moment. They leave deep emotional scars. These scars can last a lifetime, affecting your relationships, your self-worth, and even your ability to trust others. Here's how. The first is making you feel like you're unworthy of love and validation. Growing up with a narcissistic mother often means you were constantly trying to earn her love and approval. You may have heard phrases like, "Why can't you be more like so-and-so?" Or "You never do anything right." Even if it wasn't a verbal message, the message you receive was that love had to be earned. Even when you tried your hardest, it was never quite good enough. And as an adult, you may still find yourself seeking validation from others, always feeling like you have to prove your worth. No matter how successful you are, no matter how much you accomplish, no matter how much money you make or how much love you give, it never quite feels enough. And this belief can infiltrate your personal relationships, leaving you with this deep sense of unfulfillment, always striving and never feeling loved as you truly are. And likely feeling that others around you are falling short of meeting your love needs. The second thing it does to you is it causes confusion and guilt. A narcissistic mother can leave you with a cloud of confusion, especially when you try to set boundaries. You might find yourself saying, "I just need a little bit of space," or I can't deal with this behavior, only to be met with guilt trips or emotional manipulation. You may feel guilty for just trying to protect yourself or your time. You may feel like a bad child, even as an adult, for not meeting her constant demands. This is particularly hard when she tells you, "I don't ask for much," or "You'll miss me when I'm gone," or "After all I've sacrificed for you." She pulls every manipulative trick in the book to make you feel like you're abandoning her and that her happiness hinges on your obedience. This guilt makes it hard to say no, and over time you may feel trapped, even as an adult, in a cycle where you feel obligated to put her needs above your own, despite knowing that it's toxic. This deep-seated guilt makes it feel like you're doing something wrong, even when you're simply just trying to take care of yourself or your own family. And unfortunately, that guilt will now extend to your entire sphere of friends and family, leaving you completely drained and unsettled. Number 3, it leaves you emotionally exhausted. Narcissistic mothers tend to drain your energy and leave you just emotionally depleted. As a child, you might have learned to suppress your feelings in order to keep the peace or avoid triggering another one of her outbursts. As an adult, this pattern may continue with you feeling emotionally drained after every interaction with her, even though you can't explain why something doesn't seem like it's obviously wrong. You may find yourself constantly trying to manage her emotions. Of course, you're walking on eggshells and you're worrying about her needs over your own. This emotional exhaustion is going to build up over time. It's going to leave you feeling like you're always giving, but never receiving. But then, if you even have the thought or notion to think that way, you're circling right back to the guilt of even feeling that way to begin with. You feel like you're constantly trying to make her happy at the cost of your own peace. You may begin to feel isolated or numb, unable to share your true feelings, and exhausted by the need to constantly be the one to calm the storm. And sadly, you will likely find yourself emotionally exhausted by numerous toxic people in your life, as you will deal with them the same way that you dealt with her. And number 4, you guessed it, struggling with self-worth. The constant criticism, the constant judgment, the lack of emotional support from a narcissistic mother can cause severe damage to your self-worth. If she constantly compared you to others, made you feel like your efforts were never enough, or belittled your achievements, it's easy to grow up feeling like you just don't matter and that nothing you're going to ever do will ever impress her. Or maybe you had the opposite experience, where your mother excessively praised even the smallest of accomplishments. She bragged about you endlessly, but something always felt off. You never felt like her praise was genuine, and chances are it wasn't. Her bolstering of you wasn't for healthy, loving reasons. She wasn't celebrating you. She was using you. If you were attractive, a good student, a star athlete, or anything else that gave your mother pride, it often served as a way for her to gain bragging rights. But you never truly felt seen or appreciated for who you were. The endless compliments and praise for trivial things felt insincere and self-serving. I knew a woman whose parents were divorced, and her mother would compliment her endlessly on all the things that she knew her father was trying to correct. And this left her feeling so confused about where her self-worth truly came from. And as a result, a child, even an adult child raised in this environment, may struggle to identify where their self-worth truly lies. It can leave you feeling invisible, like your needs or your desires just don't matter. And as an adult, you may find it hard to build healthy, trusting relationships because deep down you feel unworthy of real love and affection. You may find yourself repeating these toxic patterns in relationships, drawn to others who mirror your mother's behavior because it's familiar. Doubt creeps in and you second guess yourself and your worth, wondering if you truly deserve a genuine connection. These emotional scars can impact every area of life, from career choices to personal relationships. But remember, recognizing these patterns is the first step to healing. So, how do you move forward? How do you honor God while navigating this relationship with your mother? Well, the first thing is you got to set healthy boundaries. Setting boundaries with a narcissistic mother isn't just about protecting yourself, it's also about honoring God. The Bible says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. You can love your mother, but still protect your emotional health and your purpose in life by saying no when needed. Boundaries aren't about rejecting her. They're about protecting what God has entrusted to you. And honoring her isn't about obeying her every request. It's about respecting the life that God has called you to live. Secondly, forgive. Forgiveness is a key part of moving forward, but it's important to understand that forgiveness doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean reconciliation, and forgiveness doesn't mean trust. Forgiveness means releasing the burden of anger and resentment to God so it doesn't control and consume you. Jesus taught us in Matthew 6:14, "For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you." Forgiveness frees you as it places this person in the hands of God, not in your own hands. Because trust me, my friend, He can handle her better than you ever could. And the third thing that I want you to do is to guard your heart. If forgiveness is like unlocking a door to let go of the past, then guarding your heart is like installing a strong lock on that door to prevent that same hurt from entering again. It is vital to not allow the wounds of your mother's behavior to define your identity. You need to let God's truth about who you really are take root. My friend, you are loved, You are chosen. You are forgiven and free. You are not the false narrative your mother may have placed on you. And number 4, I want you to seek God's approval, not hers. One of the biggest struggles when dealing with a narcissistic mother is the deep need for approval. The very woman that has rejected you in so many ways is the same woman whose approval you can't seem to live without. But God calls us to live for His approval, not man's. And I want you to remember Galatians 1:10. Am I now trying to win the approval of a human being or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I was still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. When you seek God's approval, you break the grip of manipulation and control that others have over you, including a narcissistic mother. And number 5, accept. I need you to accept this. The key to moving forward in your relationship with your narcissistic mother is accepting that the relationship may never be what you hoped it would be. And this is deeply painful to grieve, but necessary. You can still choose to walk in peace, set your boundaries, and love her from a distance if needed. Remember, you don't need to fix her, but you can take steps towards healing yourself. So to answer the big question, but what if it's my mother? Yes, you can love her, honor her, and still protect your emotional health. You can and absolutely should set boundaries, guard your heart, and seek God's approval above all. But if you are feeling stuck and you want to know the prayer that stops the narcissist dead in their tracks, I want to invite you to check out this episode next. And be sure to grab a copy of your free Narcissist Survival Guide. I'll include a link in the description box below.